is Margaret Wahito, and here are the stories making headlines. President Uhuru Kenyatta says he has no powers to remove IEBC Commissioners from office and therefore advised the opposition to channel its grievances through Parliament. President Kenyatta says the protest the opposition has been holding outside the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission offices will not yield fruit, as there is already a laid out procedure on how change in its ranks can be effected. He says he has no vested interest in the sitting commissioners and says he would acquiesce to a change of guard should the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy secure the support to Parliament.
Lakini jameni, katiba ambayo tuko naye leo ambayo inataka kurudia tena, tulipitisha tukiongozwa na wale ambao sasa wanatupinga. Yasema ya kwamba hizo nguvu ambazo zilikuwa na Rais Moi, Uhuru Kenyatta hana hizo nguvu leo. Hiyo nguvu imepatiwa wengine. So hata ukiandamana mpaka kesho, hata ukiandamana mwaka mzima, mimi sina uwezo wa kubadilisha ile ambayo iko. Mimi sina uwezo wa kuondoa hizo kisari. Mimi sina uwezo wa kuondoa IEBC. Hata nikijaribu kufanya hivyo, raia wa kawaida ataenda kotini tu, kotini itasema rais amevunja sheria, hiyo amri alitoa ni ya bure. Sasa mimi sina haja ya kuaibika bure.
President Kenyatta spoke in Northeastern in his latest development tour. Meanwhile, the Code Fraternity maintains it will push forward with its protests despite condemnation for plunging the country into unrest. And still on IEBC, the commissioners said they will start the procurement process of voter identification machines to be used in next year's polls in July. Commissioner Mohamed Alawi has assured the National Assembly Justice and Legal Affairs Committee that the new biometric voter registration and electronic voter identification devices will be in the country in March 2017 and will be tested to avoid malfunctions which occurred in the 2013 polls. The National Treasury has proposed to allocate 19 billion shillings to the Commission in the coming financial year, with 4.4 billion shillings to go into hiring polling officials, 2.7 billion shillings to be used on transport during elections, 4.7 billion shillings to be spent on administrative costs, and 3.2 billion shillings for mass voter registration next year. 3 secretaries testified before the tribunal charged with ascertaining the truth behind the allegation that Supreme Court Justice Philip Tunoi took a 200 million shillings bribe from Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero. It heard from Tunoi's Secretary Sophia Nyai, as well as from Supreme Court Justice Ndung'u's Secretary Sarah Maina, as the 2 judges share an office. They both denied witnessing Tunoi's accuser, Geoffrey Kiplagat, visit him as he alleged. Kidero's Secretary Alice Mahungu has also testified that Kiplagat has never visited her employer at his office either. And finally, industrialist Dr. Kirubi has called on the government to treat the challenges facing Kenya Airways as an urgent matter and salvage it. Kirubi says the immediate issue to deal with at the airline is completely getting it out of debt by pumping more funds. He says the government is the only savior, adding that despite previous financing to the airline, there is need for the state to help clear all debts and not allow the airline to continue borrowing more. Even as he calls for help for the airline, Kirubi insists on the need for an overhaul of the management team as well as the operation model. And that was your Capital Online TV news. For this and more stories, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Capital FM Kenya. I've been your host, Margaret Wahito. Good evening.